Hold on
So,
once. Oh, yep. Okay, we got it. You're
yep,
live.
looks like we're live. Okay, first of all, everybody, welcome to the first meeting of the Civil Law Subcommittee. We do have a quorum, although we do have a few more people that will be showing up momentarily. Um, I just wanted to, first of all, take a moment to say thank you to our staff person, Holly Vandergrift, who is amazing at making sure we stay on track, as well as a thank you to the district committee for making sure that the Zoom was actually activated. As I have been, I'm notorious for having hiccups in the technical side of my office. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
That's very nice.
Okay, so we're only going to be discussing House Bill 10 today. Are going to have some other bills coming up to the subcommittee. Don't worry, Delegate McComas. We'll have lots of stuff to discuss, but today it's just House Bill 10. And having spoken at length with Delegate Foley over the weekend, I know that there have been lots of discussions going on between Rebecca Snyder and her association, your office, Delegate Foley, and the Baltimore Banner people as well have gotten involved now, which is great. So, do you want to give us an update, Delegate Foley, as to whether I understand that there's some amendments that are being proposed, both amendments from Lorenzo and his folks, and from Matt from Rifkin Weiner and his folks at the Banner, and that we're not going to be prepared to vote until we can get maybe some consensus, but maybe you can give us an update.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would be happy to. So yes, we have had extensive discussions with the stakeholders on this bill. This bill is sort of breaking new ground here, but I would just like to mention that in researching this, Virginia does do this, what this bill is trying to do. Virginia already does it, has done it for several years. So it's new here in Maryland, but certainly not in this region. Anyway, yes, we have been talking, Mr. Chair, about some amendments. I'm not sure that we're going to come to a meeting of the minds with the Press Association, but I think the amendments that we
Can I cut you off for 1 second?
Sure.
Can we see if Delegate Arakan is in the waiting room? I just got a text from her. I don't know if I'm sorry. Okay.
No.
Apologize. So do you want to just quickly also just remind us what the bill does? I mean, I can do that too, but it seems like you're already going, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, if you want me to start there, I'll start there. So what the bill does is we passed a scaled back version of this last year that wasn't this I think this is a better bill in my opinion. So what this does is right now governments are required, local governments, county governments, and even the state government are required to publish in print media only various public notices about meetings and bylaws changes and all kinds of things. Yeah. And so what this does is it says that it can not only be published in print, but it can be published in a digital publication that essentially acts like a newspaper. One example of that, the prominent example, is the Baltimore Banner. I think all of us are familiar with the Banner and how it is distributed and the kinds of things that it covers. And it certainly does cover local news. So that's what the bill does. There's some guardrails around the kind of digital media that could accept these ads, making sure that we're talking about something that is really, truly a newspaper in the digital sense.
Okay.
So that's basically it.
Okay. So before we go into, and maybe we'll have, I don't know if Brad, I guess you're here. Matt, I spoke with Matt earlier, but I guess you're on behalf of the Banner, and
yep.
Rebecca is here along with Mr. Bellamy. Do you want to describe the amendments that are being discussed? Does anybody want to describe them? Is there any questions anybody has?
I can let, if I could, Mr. Chair, I think Brad could maybe discuss the amendments. We have, let me just say that we have some amendments that we've agreed on. that are coming with the Press Association. But I think maybe the committee is more interested in the ones that we're still working on. So I'm going to let, if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, maybe Brad can describe those.
That's fine. And then,
Sure.
and I believe that Delegate Erican might have an amendment. And so but we'll discuss what Brad's got first. Go ahead.
So I'm not sure if it was distributed to the full subcommittee, but the point of the amendment is to effectively say that a digital only media would be allowed to effectively have these notifications and advertisements published if they are at least covering 3 local counties, and they would only be able to take the notifications from the counties that they are covering. So it's a little bit of a redheaded Eskimo, but at the same time, I think the idea would be that, in local jurisdictions that have print only, for instance, and don't have digital coverage on the local level, we wouldn't want digital to be an option. But in the other jurisdictions where there is significant digital presence, it is good for the local jurisdiction. It is good for the taxpayers to have competition for those advertisements. So that's really the point of the amendment. And again, I'm not sure if it was fully circulated, but happy to try to share my screen if I can.
Let me see if we can get you to, let's see. I can allow you to share, I think. I mean, I think it would be, let's before we do that, let's answer questions. And then if there are any questions, and we're gonna circulate this. We're not voting on it today, so we'll circulate this to everybody, I think, after the fact. But go ahead, Delegate Embry, and then if Rebecca wants to ask a question, we got Delegate Embry.
Thank you so much. I just want to make sure I understand the reason for 3 counties versus 2 or 1, and how MML feels about that, because I know there's some parts of the state that don't have as many options as the Baltimore and DC region.
That's a great question. I think we put 3 in as a starter. If we wanted to drop it, that's fine too. But I think the idea was for a digital presence to at least be big enough and recognized enough to, warrant having these advertisements published in that manner.
Thank you.
Yep.
Rebecca, did you have a question about the amendment, or did you want to mention?
Actually, I just wanted to clarify a few things. So Delegate Foley shared that this is about government notice. This bill is all public notice. So that means everything that comes out of a court, everything that comes from private individuals, comes from government. It is a much more expansive bill in that, as it is written, and maybe there's an amendment that we haven't seen. And I also feel like this bill, even if it's more than 3 counties, this is a bill specifically for the Baltimore banner. And it is, I think, really bad public policy to create legislation for one organization. There's a lot, the print and digital is, you want verifiability in your notice. There are real substantial differences in the way in how audience is measured and where notices go that you cannot replicate in digital format. And so I respect Delegate Foley so much. We work very strongly together in other situations, but in this bill, I think this is too much, too soon, and we need to have print and digital before we just run and say, oh, you can, on the Baltimore banner should be able to do this as of October 1st. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. If you want to advantage the banner in some way, you can do it, but let's not disturb the entire ecosystem and destabilize the print news, which has the majority of your journalists and the majority of your news gathering capabilities.
Okay,
So
great.
I know that wasn't a question, but that I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you very much. Delegate Foley, what was the question?
Well, I just wanted to, Rebecca raised this issue, and I have tremendous respect for Rebecca, and she's right. We do work on issues together. We have a disagreement here, but we don't disagree on like our
We're still
goals
friends.
and values, but let me just say that she did raise an issue about the bill expanding to other notices. And she pointed that out to us the other day, and I should have made clearer to her that in the amendments that we're drafting, there is an amendment to then shrink it back down to what is actually intended in the law, and that would just be government notices. That was the bill we had last year, and that's was our intent here, and
Right.
it was a mistake on our part to not.
And when you have that amendment, you will obviously provide it to us,
Yeah,
right?
we will provide it to you. Sure, as I said, and we have several amendments coming, Mr. Chair, and we certainly will provide them to you. They are in the process of being drafted.
Okay, great. Delegate Erican, did you have an amendment that you wanted to discuss?
I did, but I'll just wait until we meet the next time to talk about them because there's a drafting problem with mine. So as soon as since we're not voting today, we'll just
Right,
chat about it
and
next time.
Do you want to just give us the concept so that we can?
I mean, I think it's actually already been discussed. I mean, the idea is that for areas that don't meet all these requirements, that print still be included. So I texted you the draft language that I was planning to offer. But yeah, we can go into more detail if necessary, if they don't come with a sponsor. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the amendment that we drafted might take care of that, to ensure that in the jurisdictions where digital is not significant or even present, that you would still maintain the print only option.
And can I
Okay.
just ask, so if digital as defined by the law is not present, then it would defer back to required, when notice is required, that it has to go to print media.
Correct.
Yes.
Is there a definition? Do you have a definition change in what qualifies as digital media, so that we're not using Joe Smith's blog as a legitimate digital source?
So yeah, Delegate Foley, I don't know if you
Yeah,
want.
no, you go right ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I think the way it's drafted now, it talks about publishing at least once a week through the last 12 months.
Right.
But that's a good question. We may need to tighten that. It could be a daily local coverage. I'm not quite sure.
Right. The only reason I'm asking is because now that you are here doing this for what many would consider a pretty well-known, legitimate digital medium, I would suggest that maybe you look at that language and make sure that it meets all the requirements. Delegate Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say that the original bill has a number of requirements in it that would also address that issue in addition to the amendment. So for example, in addition to what Brad raised, there's also a requirement that they cover the community for which the notices are being placed. There is a requirement that they have a reporter, at least one employee who works X number of hours a week. And I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. I could look, but so that they actually have an employee who works, that it's not just, people submitting things, that person live within 50 miles or closer to the publication, or at least one reporter to do that. And it goes through a list. It also specifies that if it's a nonprofit, there have to be some guardrails around what kind of nonprofit organization it is. So that's all in the original bill, in addition to the language that's now being drafted as an amendment that puts further stipulations on it.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from delegates first, and then we'll ask Mr. Bellamy. First, Lorenzo, give us 1 second. Yes, Delegate McComas. You got to turn yourself off of mute.
Okay. What I'm kind of concerned about is just knowing if you only have, let's say, one reporter within 50 miles, and it's a fairly large community, there is no way that person can maybe deal with a couple towns, and, that are municipalities and all of their different notices, let's say about raising the raising the sewer rates, raising the tax rate. And then you have a crazy county council and there's all kinds of stuff going there. And then you have a school board. I'm just thinking, a minimum of one person cannot cover everything. And, so I'm just kind of like, how's that going to work?
Yep.
I don't know.
All right, so let's go let Lorenzo speak, and then maybe he will agree with that comment. I don't know. So, and then we'll and then the sponsor can address that.
Well, thank you, Delegate Cardin, and I'm not really responding to Delegate McCombs's question, but my comment is actually directed at the amendments that Brad is offering, and I appreciate the banner's attempt to try to figure out where there's common ground here, but I'm just curious as to, and I'm not sure who asked the question about the local counties and the rationale for 2 or 3 or whatever number you choose. But I think the issue for us, I represent the Daily Record, and Rebecca would probably say the same thing, is the opportunity for the banner to expand beyond what's currently in the legislation or currently in the amendment. So the amendments would apply to the current status of where the banner is now, but it doesn't deal with what's potentially going to happen in the very near future, and probably in the very, very near future. And so it's a comment. Obviously, where our position is, and I'm with Rebecca on this, but I just would, Brad, if there's a way you can clarify that.
I think the way the amendment would be drafted is any county that a digital media is covering locally, they would have the county or the municipality would have the option of placing a notification into digital media. And again, I think part of this is from a competition standpoint, sure, that's a reality, but the taxpayer saves dollars when there is competition and there is option. And I do appreciate print media, wanting to preserve their role here, but it doesn't mean that notifications won't be placed in print. It's just another option for local jurisdictions.
Is it fair to say that if for example, the Montgomery County, you had to post in Montgomery County and you could post in, for example, the Washington Post, you could choose whether you want to do the Post or the banner.
Correct.
Either one
that's literally all we're asking for.
And
here.
so if the Post was cheaper, people could do it in the Post, or the county could do it in the Post or whatever. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Delegate Foley, we're going to go for another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll see where we are. Okay. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to address Delegate McCombs's question. So,
Yep.
Delegate McCombs, I appreciate the question, and I agree with you that in a lot of cases, one reporter is certainly not enough. I think the reason here is that we wanted to make sure that, and that's a floor, not a ceiling. So one reporter, if it's 5 reporters, that's great. In the case of the banner, for example, in Montgomery County, they have, I think, 9 reporters in that jurisdiction. That's great. And it's just to make sure that there's at least one employee who's dedicated to covering the news, again, so that we don't wind up with someone who's just sitting in their basement blogging, right? So that's really what that's about. And I would also say that the 3 county requirement is kind of a floor. So if the banner covers 5 counties or 20 counties, or I guess there aren't 20 counties, but 5 counties or 19 counties in Maryland, that they would still qualify for this business.
Okay. Rebecca, maybe the last word. I was going to give the last word to Lorenzo, but I'll give it to Rebecca.
Oh, pressure. I was just going to say there is a lot of competition in many of our jurisdictions already. If you look at the places where the banner, and let's make no mistake about it, this is a bill to advantage one organization and one organization only that will destabilize your entire news media system. But in the counties that the banner would be qualified, there's already robust competition. You can already place, like in Baltimore City, you can place in the Baltimore Sun, the Daily Record, the Afro. You can place So that's three right there, and they all are competing. Same thing in Harford County, same thing in Prince George's. You have Prince George's Post, you have Montgomery County, a little less competitive there, but you can still, there is still competition. You have the
Can I just
Daily
ask you a
Record,
quick
you have the
question,
Washington
Rebecca?
Post. So, sure.
Are you suggesting that the banners shouldn't be able to compete with those print media? I mean, I'm just,
No, I'm saying that this bill, I think that it is really bad public policy, no matter where you are or where you're going, to say this is a bill that will directly benefit one organization. The way this is written, even with the amendments, is the banner's a unicorn. There is no other digital publication that would be able to do this. Most, and if you look at the news ecosystem, big picture, the majority of those journalists are in print publications. The majority of digital publications are very committed projects by a small number of people. And so the banner is a unicorn. There is not someone with $50 million that's going to start another one anytime soon. And so all this does is say, let's pick winners and losers. And I think as a general rule, that's a bad idea. And there, you had talked about lack of competition. There is competition in the world, and I do feel like the amendments that are offered don't solve the problem. So I don't know if that's compelling enough
I
last
think it's
words, but that's what I have.
very well said. I appreciate the perspective. I think that you were very articulate. Thank you. Any other questions from any delegates? So we are going to wait for these amendments. Delegate Arakan, if you might want to talk to the other folks and see if their amendments include yours, but who knows? We will bring this back up. We might have a few other bills. Holly, we're probably not doing this till next week, or it depends on when we get these amendments.
I think we'll probably do this early next week.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much.
Once you have the amendments, so please send them along to Chair Cardin and me so that we can circulate them within the subcommittee.
Yes, we will make it a priority and we'll try to get them to you well in advance. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Delegate
Mr.
Foley.
Chair.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
everybody, for
everybody.
joining.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.